Hello again. The other day we talked about the EMUs and the underground trains interacting with each other on the branch line station. I wasn't very clear about what I have in mind with that. I've got just a little bit of time because we're back to work. And I'm not going to be able to spend time down here doing very much. But let me just try and explain what I've got going on. Let's try and simplify what we've got going on here. There's two tracks that come down into one track, go through a tunnel, and then split out again, let's just say into two. There's more than two, and there's more than just that because of this. But it's called a double pickle fork. I'll draw it on a bit of paper in just a minute. There we go. A pickle fork and another pickle fork. In this instance, that's the branch station. That's the connection to the other lines, and this is the fiddle yard down there, which breaks up into, there's only one of them that's hooked to the computer, so other lines down there don't show up. But there we are, double pickle fork. That's what I'm talking about. Now then, if we have one train, there it is, it could head off down the track, stop and come back again. If there are two trains, it can head off down the track, park beside the one that's down there, and then the other one comes back. So we wouldn't need both tracks here. If there are three trains on a double pickle fork, this train heads that way and it would have nowhere to go because there would be two trains at the other end of that tunnel. So for a double pickle fork to work with three trains, one train comes out here, parks beside that one goes into the tunnel, parks beside the one that's down there. The one that's down there comes back and parks there, then this one can go back. In this particular case though, there are three underground trains, two of them on the other end of the pickle fork, and the third one without its lights on. The driver's gone home. No, wait a minute, they're on strike. That's what it is. But it's parked there on the third siding. So in this instance, all three trains are parked at this end. So it's a three-pronged fork at one end and a two the other. Now then, whilst those three trains are parked down there, or even if one of them were here, the EMU can get on its merry way and come this way, out onto the main line, not going down the four-rail underground line, but onto the main line. Off it goes around into the main station, where it does something similar with trains around there. So these trains then have got to interact with the underground trains, and that's where it gets really fun and complicated. Let's look at the other end of where the EMUs would end up. So here's our main station, and the main line comes around the bend there, one line there, one line here. Forget about the two in the middle for right now. So one platform here for the EMUs and one over there. That then can go off into a fiddle yard, which is this way, where there would be three roads. There's another EMU. Again, the steam trains there are ghost trains. Don't worry about them. That's just yet further complication. So there's one there. The EMU in the platform there could then come along this way. This is usually covered, of course, and park where that steam train is. While it's waiting there, this one can either come back that way, in which case we simply have a three-pronged fork at this end, heading into a single track around to the branch line station. But the other end of that fiddle yard comes back out here. So there's a loop in there and it comes back out here. And so now, coming across that junction, you can go into this platform here. And so now that train has gone that way and eventually comes back here. And so then can go around the main line and end up back in the branch line station. If you're careful and only have one of these at a time over here, well, you could have two if the underground trains are all that way, then you could bring an underground train in and out of here at the same time. So that's the plan. So, a recap, or should I say a recap so far. We have an end-to-end underground layout. So 3 sidings, or 3 lines at one end, 2 at the other, with 3 trains, 3 underground trains. I'll talk about the complication of the 4th in just a moment. There's a out and back EMU operation going on. So the 4-car EMUs, there are 3 of them, run from that same station, the same branch line station, through the main line station, into or through a 3-road fiddle yard, so all 3 of them could be stored there, if you see what I mean, and then back again. So they go around that loop and come back into the branch line station. So you have end-to-end and out and back. Now let's add some complexity. First of all, you have the bay platform here. This train simply goes from here over to the main station, and typically it's gone into that platform, waits a little minute, and then hops on back again. Now then, there are 2 such trains. There's another one there. So that's just again, an out. It's not out and back, it's end to end, because it doesn't go around the loop at the end there. Are you with me so far? Because that line is London Underground, you can put the Class 20 down it. So that's the Sherlock Holmes. It can go down there, it's gauged for it, and there is a siding at the other end of it where you could store that. So that's all of that. But we haven't touched these lines yet, have we? Nor those lines, nor the ones hiding at the back, nor the lines past the new High Street, or around the cricket ground over there. So that is a continuous run. So you have a folded dog bone, so trains go around the end over there. On the upper level, head this way, eventually come off the incline and around there, before heading into the middle platforms, one heading in each direction, through the tunnel and into their fiddle yard, which is a little bit of an unusual one. It's back there, you see that? There's 2 roads there, and there's another one that way a little bit. All very complicated. Here are the key issues. Number 1, when trains stop, they must stop exactly in the right place, because those fiddle yard roads are not very long. Well, most of them aren't. 2, there are more trains than fit, so you can't actually run that clever schedule, because there's just not enough room unless you run 1 train at a time, and that's no fun. And 3, you need about 9 hands to do it, unless you let the computer do it. So it's an automated layout to some extent, at very least. I'm going to run 1 train on each of those configurations, just to show you what it looks like, and then you have to put it all together in your mind. Once you see that, you will start to understand why it is we need to extend that line, and of course the ones either side, into a fiddle yard that would sit out here, just because I've got too many trains. Now I could just thin right down, but what's the fun of that? Everybody who's into model railways has too many trains. What I've been describing is the difference between a train set and a model railway. What we're doing is modelling an actual operation, as it were. All right, let's get this thing switched on and we'll show you how it all works. You've often heard me talking about computer control. What I have here is Train Controller Silver, and essentially what it does is decides which route a train can go. Now, I need to get it to be more specific because it will send trains in places I really don't want them to be. And that really causes confusion. If you've got trains parked, let's say, in all of the platforms, you are going to end up having to move things simply because there's nowhere to put stuff. So I may have to jiggle a little bit just to get one of the trains in the right place before we go any further. But let's just show you the end-to-end then on the branch line with the underground trains. So you've seen this a number of times. What happens here is the first train comes along and heads into the station. Oh dear, there is another train sitting over there. So it's perfectly fine, you wouldn't notice any difference. Now, if the schedule, and what I will do is have these underground trains set up to work on a schedule, the very next thing to happen would be the other red train would come along and want to get into that platform. Let me show you what happens then. So the other train has taken off from the platform there. It'll come out of that tunnel and head into this one, but never come out. There it sits. Can you see it hiding in the tunnel? So it's out of the platforms over there. To be honest, they usually come out to here and stop somewhere here. That one, for some reason, stops in the tunnel, but it's stopped. And it will stay stopped because it has nowhere to go. The 4-car EMU that's holding it up there also has nowhere to go because where I'm sending it is there. Now, here's where we start to get a little complex. This next train I'm moving hasn't been programmed properly, so it's likely to run on. So I may have to run and hit a stop button. But let me show you what happens. So all the points have changed. That train will take off. I'm not touching anything. It's heading in the direction of the platform I've asked it to go to, but it can't get there. It's going very quickly. Now, because it's left the station, I haven't touched anything. Because it's left the station, that underground train has now got somewhere to go. And so off it goes into the platform over there. This one, as if by magic, has crept all the way around to here, waiting at the signals, which don't yet operate, one day will. I did say it needed programming. If it had been behaving itself, it actually would have stopped there. It's run on, there's a section here and it's run on. But nevertheless, it's now waiting its turn. So there you are, 2 underground trains sitting in the platform, waiting to do their next thing. Now, one of them, their next move would be back into the platform at the other end of the line. And by this time, that one should be out of the way. So we'll move that one just to show you. Now the 4 EMU, the blue one, has taken off. We haven't seen it yet because it's been in the fiddle yard. It's gone around the reversing loop, but it's made an appearance. It's ducking into the tunnel. Will come out of the other end and should stop somewhere there. So it's come into the platform there and should stop. And should stop. And should stop. It has. And this is what I'm talking about. It has it overrun? It has overrun a little bit. So we've got some programming to do. But you see, in principle, that's where it should be. Now that one can head off in that direction into its tunnel and disappear into the fiddle yard. Now, parts of the schedule are already set up and running. So while I was busy having a look at that one over there, I heard a train start moving. And one of the underground trains took off. So one of them has gone AWOL. Not at all worried about it. It's gone and parked in the fiddle yard. It's not quite in. So again, another positioning issue. But it has moved all on its own. I'm actually quite happy it did. This is the one that needs a little bit of mechanical work. Ooh, it's running smoothly today. Bit quick. It should stop there. It hasn't. But with a little sleight of hand, there it is exactly where it's supposed to be. So once that has had its wheels washed and a little bit of CV setting, that's where it would end. At about this time, the blue one is due to leave the station and head towards the branch line where there is room for it. Now, of course, if this one is about to move, the points here would be set against the blue one, and so it would have to wait. It would wait somewhere on one of the block sections. And as if by magic, off it goes. And here it comes. I'm going to let it run. It should stop in the right place. Ooh, it touched the buffers, but it's there. So yes, there we go. And behind me, that one, you see, this is the weird thing. It's nicely arrived in the station over there. I didn't tell it to. It's part of the sequence I tried to write, but it has stopped in the right place. So just to show it can. Now then, I only have, let's run the 40 to show you. So we've shown you the out and back of the EMUs. We've shown you the end to end. Let's show you a full circuit of the 40. So what I've done with that is told it to take off, go and do its thing and come back and park where it was. So it's going into the reversing loop. It isn't. And this is where it gets interesting. It's gone up the bypass line. So it hasn't touched the line around the cricket ground. It's come up behind it. It's going to head past the street. This is one of the paths trains can take. It's coming down the incline. Lickety split. It's just had its wheels polished. Around my favourite curve on the layout. There it is. Nice easy one. And it'll come back into the platform it left a few minutes ago. And stop in the right place, but at some kind of breakneck speed. The Class 20 is on this track. If I were to send it off, it would do something very similar. So there you have it. The only major complication is that bypass line. So if I were to ask the Class 40 to leave there and come in facing the other way round, it could. All it did was a circuit, so it didn't need a reversing loop. But if I ask it to come in the other way round, it would and could. So quite an interesting operational conundrum there, isn't there? but I could only run one or maybe two trains at a time there. It's theoretically possible to have almost all of them on the go at the same time, but it's a rare day when that happens. Each of those trains today had something that needed adjustment. So there was one that ran on. There was even the blue one, when it comes in that way round, has touched the buffers, just barely. The underground train could do with being a foot this way. Yeah, all of that. And we haven't run that. Let's just do that to show you how it works. So it takes off out of the bay platform, disappears. Then it'll come along here, slow down a little bit, pass its friend, and stop in the platform. And stop in the platform rather abruptly. Yes, about you. What you doing? Pauses just a minute or two, and then heads off the other way, back to whence it came. It slows down early. There's a speed restriction on that bend up there, which is working, which is rather lovely. It has prevented numerous derailments. It now comes across the double slip, past the front of the signal box. Ooh, it stuttered. And drives home into its parking spot. So that's that sequence. So there's quite a bit going on, isn't there? Sadly, I've now got to jump in a car and drive to work. I've got to change my shirt first, look all smart. Lovely to see you all again. Videos up here, subscribe here. If you'd like to be a member, I'd like that too. See you next time. Bye now.